Friends, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. I do not know. Maybe I should have foreseen this. I knew that my wife spent a lot of time with her friend Audrey. I wasn't thrilled about it. Audrey was divorced and led a pretty wild life, as far as I could tell. She was constantly changing boyfriends. I couldn't keep up with them, but then I had no reason to try. I really didn't like her. Despite this, I never tried to come between her and my wife Linda. Looking back, I think maybe it was a mistake. I do not know. All I know is that she was instrumental in convincing my wife to rip out my heart. Linda and I have been married for 17 years. We had a 15-year-old daughter, Tanya. Our son, Clay, was 2 years younger. We lived, as most suburban families probably do. Linda worked in a doctor's office, and I was quite successful in selling computer programs. We had a nice house, 2 nice cars, and a wonderful family life, at least as far as I was concerned. The first sign that Linda didn't quite share my utopian view of things came to me when I came home one Friday night and saw her and Audrey sitting at the kitchen table. Audrey looked as smug as ever, but I thought Linda looked a little worried. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that something has happened. "Hi, darling," Linda said, getting up to kiss me. "Hi, honey," I replied, putting down my briefcase and hugging my beautiful wife. After we kissed, I looked at Audrey and greeted her with a simple, "Hi." "I'm going to run upstairs and change," I said, reaching for my attaché. "All right, dear. Would you like a cup of coffee?" She seemed to be searching for words. "Audrey and I have something we'd like to talk to you about when you get back." "What?" I asked, assuming that there was no such time as now. Well, why don't you go up and change, darling? I'll pour you some coffee and we'll talk when you come down, okay?" I looked into her eyes, looking for some sign of what it all meant. She was definitely worried about something. I felt fear run through my body when I looked back and saw the smirk on Audrey's face. Whatever these two were cooking, I was sure I wouldn't like it. As I climbed the stairs, my brain was working with overload. One by one, I thought about a dozen different possible scenarios of what I would face when I returned. However, none of them prepared me for what actually happened. It only took me a few minutes to change out of my suit and tie for casual trousers and a polo shirt. My coffee was on the table in front of my chair when I returned to the kitchen. Audrey was chatting busily. It almost sounded like she was instructing my wife about something, but she was almost whispering and I couldn't hear her well. They didn't even notice me until I was on the other side of the table. I sat down, took a sip of coffee, and looked at them. "Okay, what's going on? What does it all mean?" Linda was worried and froze for a moment, not saying a word, until Audrey prompted her. "Go on," she said to my wife. "He loves you. He'll understand." Linda lowered her eyes as if she couldn't look at my face. "Dear, you know that I love you very much, so please don't get me wrong, but well, I want to go on a few dates with Audrey." "Not all the time," she blurted out, "just from time to time." I wasn't sure I understood what she meant by dating. Whatever she means, the answer is no, but I couldn't believe she was actually talking about making love to other guys. I had to clarify. "What do you mean by dating? You talk about love with other men." "Well then, that doesn't mean she doesn't love you, Robert," Audrey interjected. I was going to interrupt her by saying that I was talking to my wife, but decided to let her talk. I knew it wasn't my wife's idea. Audrey's name was written on it, but I wanted to see if I could figure out how the hell she got Linda to go with her. She continued, "It's just love. It doesn't mean anything. We were talking, and she told me that besides you, she's only had one man in her entire life." "This is ridiculous, Robert. I'm sure you've had a lot more women than that. She needs to go out and have some fun." I looked back at my wife. "So making love to me is not fun?" Linda finally looked at me. I tried to hide the pain on my face, but I don't think I was doing very well. "Honey, I didn't say that," Audrey replied, leading Linda away again. "But men have different ways of doing things. It's just a variety, that's all. There are a lot of guys who love their wives enough to let them go out and have some fun. It doesn't mean anything, Robert. It's just love." "Damn it." Linda and I discussed it and decided it was only fair to let you be on the sidelines for a while, too, if you wanted to. I looked back at Linda. I'm not sure if it was fear or regret, but I think she started to feel like it was a big mistake. I see, I said decisively. I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I was determined to hold them back. Audrey, could you stay here for a while? I want to discuss this in more detail when I get back, I said, getting up from my chair. Of course, she replied with a triumphant expression on her face. I'm sure she thought she'd caught me. Where are you going? Linda asked, finally speaking again. I'll be back in a while, I replied, but I didn't answer her question. I went into my home office and closed the door. Since childhood, I have always taken a serious approach to life. Oh, I don't mean that I don't like having fun. I can have fun with the best of them, and I have a great sense of humor, but when it comes to serious issues, I believe in meeting them face to face. I fought back tears as I sat down at my computer and started typing my response to Linda's proposal. Dear Linda, I never thought that I would be so hurt by the woman I loved with all my heart for so many years. But when you informed me of your intentions to make love outside of our marriage, you broke my heart. I know your friend Audrey is behind this, but your willingness to go along with her plan has already damaged our relationship and our marriage. Just to be absolutely clear about my position regarding your alleged infidelity, I categorically declare that I will consider any relationship of any kind, with a man or a woman, as betrayal and violation of our wedding vows. For further clarification, relationships include any stimulation of a loving nature, both given and received. If you ignore my feelings on this matter and continue your adulterous quest, this is what will happen. 1. On Monday morning, I will immediately file for divorce. 2. I will contact our parents and everyone we know to inform them of our upcoming divorce and explain exactly why I took the actions I did. 3. I will sit down with the children and explain the reasons why we are getting divorced. 4. Until our divorce is final, I will not leave a stone unturned until I reveal the names of everyone you are dating. If they are married, I will inform their wives about it. I will have no pity or sympathy for them or their families. Make sure they know about this before putting them and their families in danger. 5. Once the divorce process begins, there will be no turning back. We will always be connected through our children, but I will sever all emotional ties with you and start rebuilding my life without you. My dear, you have a choice. The above are the consequences if you follow through on your threat to make love to other men. However, if you decide that you would prefer to continue this marriage, there will be certain conditions. As I said before, revealing your intentions to engage in an extramarital act of love has caused me more pain than I ever thought I could suffer. At the moment, I do not know if I can forgive you or if it is possible to repair the damage done to our marriage, but I am ready to try, provided that you accept my terms. They are: 1. Immediately sever all ties with Audrey. Never contact her again for any purpose. 2. Until I decide otherwise, you will move your things to the spare bedroom and sleep there. 3. You will make an appointment with a doctor and be tested for STDs. I won't even think about making love with you until I'm sure you're safe. If any results turn out to be positive, I will file for divorce immediately. 4. Consent to the installation of GPS in your car, which I will access daily, and answer any questions I may have regarding your location, without any negative attitude. 5. Agree to marriage counseling. If you agree to my demands, I will do my best to forgive you, but restoring my trust will take time and patience. What you have to do now, my dear, is choose. I pray that you make a wise choice. It hurts, but still with all my love. Robert. I heard Linda and Audrey talking when I finished. I knew they had moved from the kitchen to the sofa in the living room. I wanted to hear what they were talking about, but in the end it really didn't matter. I have taken my position, and there will be no negotiations. I addressed the envelope and a copy of the letter to my parents, Linda's parents, and our family lawyer. I filled and sealed each envelope accordingly and stamped them. Then I made 2 more copies for the accomplices. I saw both of them turn their heads in my direction when they heard me leave the office. I'll be right back, I said, heading for the front door. I have something for the mailbox. A mailbox? My wife asked. It can't wait. We need to talk. I was out the door before she could finish what she was saying. I went to the corner and mailed all 3 copies of my testimony. I returned a few minutes later. I walked over to the 2 women sitting on my couch and handed them each a copy of my statement. What is it? Linda asked. Have you thought about what we were talking about? Yes, I said. You're holding my thoughts on this in your hand. I wanted to put them in black and white to make sure there were no misunderstandings. They both carefully began to unfold the letter. I watched Linda's face carefully as she read. Tears immediately filled her eyes. You bastard! Audrey screamed. What kind of a jerk are you? Come on, Linda, she said, taking my wife's hand. Shut up, my wife shouted, pulling her hand out of Audrey's grasp. He's my husband, and I love him. No one, including you, will call him names in my presence. The look of shock on Audrey's face was priceless. Get out, my wife continued. I want you out of my house and out of my life. I never want to see or hear from you again. Never. Linda stood up and picked Audrey up by the hand. This is goodbye, Audrey, she said, walking her ex-girlfriend to the door. I'm serious. I listened to you, and now my marriage is in trouble. Stay away from me, were her last words before slamming the door in Audrey's face. She turned to me with tears rolling down her cheeks. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, I accept your demands and whatever you say. I swear, Robert, I haven't done anything, but I'll be happy to get tested for sexually transmitted diseases. Just please tell me that you will forgive me eventually. I know it's going to take time, but I love you. I don't want a divorce. God, I can't even imagine my life without you. I said I'd try, Linda. I can't promise more than that, except for one thing. One slip, if I catch you trying to satisfy your curiosity by just standing in the same room with a man without clothes, it's over. I know, she replied sadly. I know it will take time to convince you, but I have no desire to ever be with anyone but you. Now I know that I've never actually done it. That night, I helped her move her clothes into the spare bedroom. At the moment, we just told the kids that we had a fight and slept in different rooms until we cooled down. They were skeptical. I could see it in their faces, but they cautiously accepted our explanation. The next day, I went out and bought a GS for Linda's car. Unbeknownst to her, I also bought a recording device for phones. It was a simple little thing. All you did was plug it into any phone outlet. When a call was made or received from any phone in the house, he recorded both sides of the conversation. When the connection was interrupted, the recorder stopped. I installed it in my office and hid the device behind a filing cabinet, just in case. On Sunday, I equipped Linda's GS machine and downloaded the software to my laptop. I was hoping, but I wasn't sure about our future together. Linda's job required her to work only 4 days a week. She had days off on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Needless to say, I've been following this GPS signal all day at work on Monday. She went to the grocery store around 10 o'clock, except that the car never left the driveway. I was still very worried and wanted to check the wiretapping. When I got home that evening, the kids were doing their homework at the kitchen table while Linda was cooking dinner. Hi, honey, she said, running up to kiss me. I saw the disappointment in her eyes when I turned my cheek to her. Can we talk later tonight when the kids are asleep? She asked quietly. My heart started beating like a drum again. Had she changed her mind? Yes, I replied, already feeling anxious. After dinner, I spent some time with the children, then announced that I had some things to do, and retired to my office, closing the door behind me. I connected the headphones to the recorder to make sure that no one but me would hear it. For a moment, my heart sank when I heard the first call. It was from Audrey. Hello, his wife replied after the second ring. Hey, girlfriend, he's at work. Can you talk? Audrey, didn't I make myself clear the other day? I don't want to talk to you. You're not my friend anymore. Get that into your head. Come on, Linda. Who knew Robert would take it like that? I had no intention of destroying your marriage. I don't care, Audrey. The first condition Robert said in his letter was that I leave you as a friend, and I don't want to risk ruining everything. If you ever try to contact me again, I will tell everyone that you tried to sabotage my marriage. I'm serious. I never want to talk to you again. With these words, the line ended. My heart started beating again. Maybe we have a chance, I thought. The next call was from her parents. Wow, did she get this from them? Hi, I heard Linda sigh in response. I think she thought it might be Audrey again. Linda, I just received a very strange letter from Robert. What does it all mean? Oh, hi, Mom. Yes, I made a very big mistake. Mistake? Did you really tell Robert that you were going to have an affair? Well, not exactly a novel. Do you know my friend Audrey? Well, she is. Before she could continue, she heard her father's voice on the phone. Who is this? Are you talking to Linda? Give me that phone. Hi. Hi, Dad, she replied in a trembling voice. What the hell is wrong with you? Is that how we raised you to cheat on your husband? How can you even think about that? I'm ashamed of you. We're both ashamed of you. I could hear Linda sobbing, trying to answer him. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you and Mom. I definitely hurt Robert. I'm so sorry. I heard her cry harder. Her father heard her too. It seemed to calm his anger a little. His voice was a little calmer when he spoke again. I don't understand what's gotten into you, girl. I sure as hell hope you told him you'd follow the rules he set. Yes, Dad. I've already abandoned Audrey as a friend. I told her that I never wanted to talk to her again. I can't get STD tests where I work. I'd be too ashamed. But I'm going to call the city clinic and do it there. And I'll also be the best wife a man can dream of, Dad. I know how lucky I am to have a second chance. Believe me, I won't miss it. They talked for a while longer. Then her mother picked up the phone again. By the time they finished, all three of them were already crying. The most instructive call was from Linda to my mother. Hi, Mom. Linda, hi, darling. I'm so glad to hear from you. How is everyone? Obviously, you haven't received Robert's letter yet. A letter? No. Is everything okay? Mom asked. Well then. What's the matter, Linda? What happened? Are the children all right? Did something happen to Robert? I could hear the panic in Mom's voice. No, Mom. The kids are fine. Robert is fine. Well, I did something really stupid and it hurt our marriage. Robert threatened to divorce me, and… Divorce? What did you do? I told him I wanted to date other men. She told my mom. What? Why did you say something like that? I don't know, Mom. It was stupid. I let my friend fill my head with a bunch of nonsense. She is single and always dating different guys. She has all these stories about making love to them. She says there are no two guys who do it the same way. Some are better than others, but all are different. She said it like I was missing out on so much fun all the time. She kept telling me that I should go there and experience what life has to offer. She said she could set me up with as many guys as I wanted. We could date twice. She just kept talking, and like an idiot. After a while, I started listening to her. Linda, you're married. She's single. It's a big difference. I know, my wife replied. But she introduced me to her friend, a married friend. Her name was Betty. She said her husband let her date other guys all the time. She said that he loved her so much that he wanted her to go crazy. After all, it was just love. They got together and tried to convince me that Robert would do the same because he loves me. Deep down, I knew he would never do it, but I kind of followed their example. I never stopped thinking how much he would hurt. The pain in my mom's voice sounded loud and clear. Oh, Linda, how could you? She sobbed. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. What happened? Did he leave you? What about the kids? No, he didn't leave me. He gave me an ultimatum. To leave the girl who persuaded me to do this and give up the idea of sleeping with someone else or getting divorced. We're also going to go to a marriage counselor. He sent out a letter explaining our situation. It was sent to my mom and dad, you and Dad Anderson, and our lawyer. My mom and dad have already received it, but I thought it would take another day to get to you guys. I could hear my mother crying. Linda, I do not know what to say. I never thought you could be so cruel. I hope that for your sake Robert loves you as much as I think he does. If I had done something like that to Bryce, I would have rushed outside in a hurry. I know, Mom. Linda was crying again now. I promise I will never hurt him again. I was very close to losing him, but I'm going to show him how sorry I am every day for the rest of my life. Please forgive me. Listening to them both cry made my own eyes fill with tears. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, we made sure that the children were in bed and then sat down on the sofa to talk. I was still in the dark about the nature of our little conversation, but I could see that there was already moisture in Linda's eyes when she started. I talked to our parents today. Mom and Dad got your letter. Robert, she said with a forced laugh. Dad actually read this. Actually, she said after a moment's thought, everyone pretty much read it. Your mom and dad haven't received the letter yet, but I'm sure they'll get it tomorrow. so I called to soften the blow. I wish I'd thought to do this for my own parents. Everyone is so offended and disappointed in me. Why not? I'm disappointed in myself. I I just want to say again how sorry I am. She wiped the tears from her eyes and continued. And one more thing. Don't be angry, but I have to tell you. Audrey called too. She probably thought I was joking when she said we weren't friends anymore. Anyway, I said it again. I told her that if she ever called me again, I would tell everyone how she tried to sabotage my marriage. She doesn't have many friends, and I don't think she's willing to risk losing the few she has, so I doubt I'll hear from her again. Although I knew all about them, I was glad that she told me about the calls. I took her hand, smiled, and thanked her for being honest with me. The following week, Linda went to get tested for STDs. To tell the truth, I never really believed that she had actually cheated on me. If she had, I don't think Audrey would have been able to resist poking me in the face. She would have blabbed for sure. I know that HIV can hide in the body for many years before it appears, but all the other tests were negative, so after 3 months I finally allowed Linda to return to our bed. At first, our lovemaking was awkward, but Linda was relentless and worked hard to get back what we once had. Even after everything finally got back to normal, she did everything I wanted, and she did it with enthusiasm. I think our lovemaking is better today than ever. Marriage counseling has also helped. Audrey and her friend really worked on my wife. Our therapist made her repeat every conversation over and over again. Even the fact that Betty's husband got involved. From what she said, he did his best to convince her that he let his wife play because he loved her so much. He told Linda that any man who truly loves his wife should be able to put aside his jealousy in order to make her happy. I really think he was hoping to get into her pants himself, somewhere in the end. One of these days, I'm going to have to find this asshole and personally express my feelings for his help in seducing my wife. It's been over a year since that ill-fated day, and although I haven't had the slightest reason to be suspicious since then, I still track Linda's whereabouts from time to time using GPS. I also check her phone calls from time to time. Once this seed of distrust is sown, it's hard to let go. Next month, we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of her mom and dad's wedding. Looking back at what we've been through and where we are today, I'm pretty sure that in 31 years and 3 months we'll be doing the same thing.